And so she starts, and you know, she cuts out the meat, dairy, and all the processed foods, and she starts eating fruits and vegetables, and she's healthier, right? And she's not overweight. And then every day she gives me the nuts, like, hey, you should try this. I feel great. You should try this. You should try this. So, you know, I had, this was a couple months after my trigger to get myself back into. It's like you were already kind of inclined to, you know, you're trying to take it to the next level. Yeah, I started dropping some weight and feeling good. And so she started in September. So October 1st, I'm like, all right, stop bothering me. I'm on board. I'll do it with you for 3 months, and we'll see how it goes. So October 1st, I just went one day and said, that's it. I cut out meat, dairy, all processed food, cold turkey. First week was, gosh, like what I would envision going through, like a detox program. Like your body is just completely trying to readjust to this new lifestyle type, the way you eat. And after about a week, all of a sudden, I was like, man, I just feel amazing. I mean, my energy like went through the roof, and I had all this energy, so I started to run a little bit more. And quite frankly, it was just to burn some of the energy off. And you're not like some hippie living in Ciccone Canyon, right? Like you're an investment banker. You living in Florida at the time? I was living in Florida at the time, and you know, I'm doing the corporate thing. I had a lot of client dinners, steak dinners, wine, and the whole 9 yards and stuff. And so all of a sudden, now I'm like, now I'm not eating meat, right? But when you said, just to backtrack, you said, you know, you watch a movie and it makes sense to you. I mean, I think when you, at least my experience when I talk to people and I say, you plant-based diet, what did I'm sure it's evolved since then, but what did a typical day in food look like for you after that race? I just ate a lot. I ate huge quantities of food, but I became a fan of Vitamix. I went on Vitamix, and so, you know, she started first, and so now everything's going into the Vitamix, huge salads, you know, just huge quantities. I can count a single calorie. It's not like that. Yeah, I mean, we were talking before the interview, we just made up Vitamix in the kitchen. And we were talking about like how, yeah, you know, people say, well, what's your pre-workout Vitamix, what's your post-workout Vitamix, what do you put in? And we were sharing this idea that like in there, whatever's in the fridge, man, it goes in there, and like I don't get caught up in measuring this or that or making sure I have one of the other things. More often than not, especially when you have 4 kids and you're working, it's like, I remember, like, I think it was in the movie too, they say when you get to the point where you crave like a kale salad, you're there, and you know, I got there quickly. You know, it just changed all your cravings for all sweet, that's gone. Right, that's the important thing. People say, well, why don't you, what about cheat days, or what about just doing it, 90%? And I say, that's great if that's where you're at, you know, that's a step up. You know, I had to do it cold turkey like you, I had to go all in, and if I allow myself to be 90%, then that's a slippery slope back to Jack in the Box. I went all in, and you know, it's just, you know, that 3 months I call it the experiment, was when the weight came up, you know, I went to the doctor after I had my cholesterol dropped like a rock, you know, running these crazy miles, and yeah, it was amazing. So we do this 110 mile, and when you do something like that, it changes your perspective. And so we finished, people were like, oh, you know, one and done, you know, you got that out of your system, and then, you know, my buddy David's like, well, let's go do another one, right? Okay, so we went down in May, we did the Keys 100, which runs from Key Largo down to Key 100. I'd never even actually been to the Keys before, so I figured, how long is it Key? Just run the whole way, right? So we go down and do the Keys 100, and my goal for these things, I remember, that was 50 pounds heavier just a few months ago, so my goal for these things was just to finish. That's it, all I wanted to do is go down and finish, and it was like brutal hot. Right, I had a buddy of mine, he's been on the podcast a couple times, Mishko Shabali, he went down to that race and was pacing a buddy of his, and he was telling me how hot it was. Oh, man, it was like sauna, right? And you're just, you know, every chance you can, this poor girl just drench you with ice cold water. And there was a big group, I don't know, 150 people started it, and I think at the end of the day, only 68 people actually finished. It's a huge gap, right? But, you know, I go down and I'm slow and steady. That's all I'm on, just slow and steady. You know, it was a tough day, and I went through, and I came across, I think that one was like 22 hours, 22 hours or something. The only good one about that is it's flat. So it is flat, right? You know, it's funny, like, I come across, and like, hey, congratulations, good job, you know, they're like, you came in 15th. I'm like, what? Like, this whole thing is just new to me, right? This ultra distance thing. So we got the keys in, and that was a great race. And then, you know, and then the next thing is, my buddy David, again, he's doing all these great things, so he goes and runs the Boston Marathon. So he sends the photo into the FBI. The FBI goes, this is the clearest, highest resolution photo we have of the bomber, or one of the bombers. And the photo just goes viral. I mean, it goes like literally viral. And it was, you know what, like I talked to Billy Stein that morning about running Time Lapse as a tribute to all these victims. And when the photo, which was texted to me on Monday, which you wouldn't think anything of it, until everybody had their phone out taking pictures of it. And it was like, that was a sign that we're like, this is meant to be. So, I mean, CNN calls up Dave and hey, we want you to come on and show the photo and everything like that. And I remember texting him and going, dude, I'm doing this Time Lapse challenge. And now you're in. I'm all in at this point. You know, at first it's like this crazy idea. You know, Billy Stein says, yeah, I'm good, let's do this thing. And that photo was like a sign that says, I'm all in. Right. So you sent me the not just the photo, but like a screen grab.
And do something and make that change in your life. And then to sort of be interested in the idea of honoring the Boston Marathon and the synchronicity of that photograph and the timing of when it went viral and released and your commitment to do this 163-mile run. It's like, dude, you know, there's more going on here. You know, that's just, it's an extraordinary chain of events.
It's as I think back on it, it's almost eerie in some regards. So now I'm committed, right? I'm in, and I'm starting to ramp I got to start preparing for this thing. You know, this was a long way, right, for a guy who just, you know, not that long ago was 50 pounds heavier.
But for the average person listening, it's like 110, 163. It's the same thing. And I was like, whatever. You know, anything longer than a marathon, it just gets lumped into the category of ultra marathon. Like whether it's 50 or 163, it's like the difference.
But you know, at each step, I mean, you change your perspective on what is possible, right? So I'm training for this thing. I didn't tell a lot of people at first, right? So you know, I did it as a tribute to the victims of Boston. The Time Lapse Challenge, they raise money for cancer research, so you know, I had a commitment to raise money for cancer research as well. But most of the people that I work with had no idea, right? I didn't tell them because I didn't know if I could finish, right? But you're already known as the guy who ran 110, and you know, you've done 2 ultras at this point. Yeah, so they're, yeah, right? I guess so. But I don't think of myself. People are telling me, hey, you're the runner. I don't think of myself as a runner. I mean, I guess I am at this point, but I still don't even think of myself that way. So it's and the people from the Time Lapse Challenge, yeah, I quite frankly didn't really want the publicity for this thing, but this was different, right? So for 30 years they've raised $38 million in a single weekend. This is a huge, huge endeavor, and no one had ever run it before. So they start to tell the story a little bit because they're trying to raise awareness for the charity. I said, you know, it's for charity, I'm going to go with it. And so they could float the story to a few people, and that's when that reporter called me up and said, tell me about what you're doing. And then the article, it was the morning before I was going to start Friday morning, and Thursday morning, that article went out on ESPN, and it was a great article, and it just blew up. I mean, it just blew up that day. So what happens when you show up at the event? Now everybody's looking at you like everybody knows what you're going to be attempting there. I'll kind of go back for a second. So what they do with the Time Lapse Challenge is they start Saturday morning, right? And they'll bike half the distance on Saturday, then they sleep out. They spend the night. There's 5,000 bikers. They've got a little barricade. They have barracks, basically. They spend the night, and then they get up Sunday morning and they bike the second half. So Billy started runs and says, you know, I want you to try to finish before all the bikers get in. Now, I have to kind of create a plan, right? And one of the things that when you put yourself out in life like this, it's amazing who comes into it, right? And I got connected with a world-class ultra distance runner, Lisa Smith Match, of course. I got connected with her. She kind of heard about what I was doing. I did a call with her. I told her, you know, what I was doing. I needed some help, and she's like, okay, kiddo, I'm gonna come on board and help you. So she helped me with the training and stuff leading up to it. She's fantastic. She's doing crazy events. She's amazing. She's just an amazing person, a fabulous lady, and forever indebted for the help that she gave me. So I talked to her, and she's like, you know, we figured out the schedule. She's like, you know, the best thing to do is to be Friday morning. So I start 5:45 at sunrise on Friday morning. All the bikers are gonna start Saturday, and I go nonstop for 163 miles. Who's your crew? Yeah, I had the crew. I had the fam. Yeah, I had my wife is the best. I mean, the absolute best. She's my crew person, and I'm sure you got the advice that that's probably not a good idea. So the crew is my wife, my brother, my dad, and then my wife's father-in-law. So I have the whole family, right? Which created some interesting moments along the course. Right? I can show you for that. But we started out, and I had a plan. You know, like anything in life, you gotta have a giant goal. You gotta have a plan. You gotta have a tenacity, a purpose of what you're trying to do. You're gonna have setbacks along the way. There's no question. You gotta persevere through them. And don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, people rally around really big goals, right? Really big goals. And so I start, and what happened the day before is the word started to spread, right? The local news was like, I want to come talk to you and put you in the news and everything like that. So the whole thing was just a whirlwind. And then you called me that night. That's right. Yeah. How did we connect? Like I think I tweeted out, like I tweeted out the ESPN story or something. I shared it, and then I found out how to tag you on it or something like that. I think you somehow tagged me on the ESPN story, and it hit Facebook. And I'm not a big Facebook person, but I was like, no, you gotta go back. So I didn't know you beforehand, but when I decided, I watched Forks Over Knives and went plant-based, and then got sucked into doing that first ultra. I didn't know what I was doing, so I went online. I started reading stuff up. Ultra distance, plant-based, and guess who pops up? Rich Roll, because there's not too many other guys. Rich Roll, that's right. So I get your book, right? And I read your book. Actually, I downloaded it, and I used to listen to it when I was running. And so, you hit the article went, you tweeted, put it on Facebook, and I pinged you a message back. I was like, thanks for the shout out there. And I read your book. You're fantastic, and I think we swapped a few messages back and forth. And I'll never forget. I was sitting in the minivan. We rented a minivan for the support group. I was loading the minivan up the night before, and I was surprised. He called me just to say good luck tomorrow. And that was huge. Oh man, well, I just huge respect for what you were taking on. And you know, like I said, I mean, your story resonates with me so completely. You know, it's like I get chills hearing you say it. Like you to see it through, you know what I mean? Like, it's unbelievable what you're undertaking. Because I didn't know, again, you don't kind of know what you're getting into. You don't know how your body's going to react. But at this point, I felt pressure, right? Because now, it's out there. Oh, yeah. Like, I tried to different, right? Oh, it's there. And, like, I tried to keep it quiet because I didn't know if I could finish, but now it's like there's articles going out. And, I didn't look for that, but because they were trying to bring some awareness to the charity, they started to tell the story about it, right? And so your local news did a thing the night before, but it was weird. So I started at 5:45 on that Friday morning. There's no one. Well, actually, they sent a little news crew there, right? There's a news truck there. They wanted to videotape me leaving. This is just weird. So we just started running, right? I got the support crew, and cars would come out, right? They rolled down the window. Hey, man, that guy running 10 minutes. I was like, yeah, I saw you on the news last night. Good luck. It was a weird experience.
So we're trucking along. So I started at 5:45 Friday. And I just kept running. Mm-hmm.
And what you said, you have this big goal, but then you have a plan. So what was the plan?
So first, well, the plan is, again, you go back to nutrition and calories and pacing, and I have all that in my head, ready to go, written out. Lisa had helped me really devise a race strategy to get through it, because the goal for one of these things is just to finish. It didn't matter to me. This was all for charity. It didn't matter how long it took. I just wanted to finish. That's all I tried to do. And so Friday we were out there, and it started getting hot, and we're just trucking along, and I'm eating, drinking nonstop.
And so I assume there's a run walk kind of protocol.
I'm a big fan of the run walk. Yeah. So I go 8-2s, right? Which is run for 8 minutes, walk for 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. Run for 8 minutes, walk for 2 minutes. And those 2 minutes that you're walking, it lets you eat. It lets you drink. It gives your legs a little bit of a break. And if you do it, you can go for a long time.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I had Charlie Engel, great ultra runner, on the show, and he said he's like, because there's all this. I think there's a lot of misconceptions about ultra running. They think people are just running 6-minute miles for like 24 hours straight, and I'm like, no, it's not really what's going on here. No. Even the greats, even the winners are choosing their walk moments, and they're implementing a smart run walk method. And Charlie always says, when he does public speaking, he says, who here can run a mile in 11 minutes? And most people raise their hand.
Yeah.
And he says, well, if you could do that for the 135-mile distance of Badwater, you wouldn't just win the race, you'd break the course record. So that's what we're talking about here, right? And the run-walk method is really the way you have to go. And it's not about walking when you start to get tired. It's about walking from the very beginning, so that you have to implement that strategy before you start.
You got to train. You got to train.
You have to train it, right? Yeah. You can train your walk so that it's different from a normal walk.
Oh no. When the walk is not it's not just a stroll in the park. You're power walking.
Right.
You've got to train that way so that you can run, power walk, and then get going again and keep cranking it out. And you just, I've got my watch and it just keeps beeping, and you just...
Time to do it. And even when you don't want to do it, like, I feel good, I want to keep running, like, no, stick to the plan.
And you go through, you hear people talk about, I hit the wall in a marathon. Well, like, when you run 163 miles, you hit a lot of walls, mm-hmm. right? And the thing that amazes me is that, David Goggins said, I read about it, he said, when you get to the point where, I may misquote him here, you get to the point where you think you're done, and you've only used 40%, and
Dude, you keep saying things that I say all the time. When I do public speaking, I leave people with that quote.
It's true. That exact quote. It's amazing how you can feel horrible, and all of a sudden you can turn the corner and be reborn again. And you go through these moments. And I remember, pacing myself, and I was probably at the 70-mile mark, and maybe like between 70 and 80 miles. I just felt phenomenal. I don't know what it was. I was just cranking those miles out. And then I'm running along, and then these two bikers came up behind me. And when you feel someone behind you, and you kind of like look over your shoulder, and they're peeping their head around, and then I think that's the guy, right? I think that's the guy running. And they're like, hey, you running the Pan Mass? I was like, yeah. They're like, I told you that's the guy. So these two, a guy and a girl, were on their bike. They hung with me for a couple miles, and we're chatting and everything. It was cool, and they went on. And then about half an hour later, I'm still running. they're on the side of the road with their running stuff on.
Oh, wow.
And he goes, hey, can I run with you for a while? And I go, yeah, I'd love the company. And he ran with me from, I don't know, maybe 10:30 to like 11:30 that night. And it was nice to see. I mean, people came out and really rallied and supported. It was very cool.
Mm-hmm. So you make it through this. How many hours does this take you?
So the whole thing took me just over 41 hours.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
And was there, you powered through? Did you ever sleep at all?
No,
grab a nap or anything like that?
Didn't sleep. I'd stop from time to time, take 10 or 15 minutes to refuel up and just kind of mentally check in and whatnot. Maybe every 20, 25 miles or something like that. And you talk about the dynamics of the support crew, right? So the course is not a straight like point to point. It weaves through different roads and this way and that way, and they're keeping the direction. And I'd be like, hey, how much further we have? And they'd go to their phone and the GPS, and they'd be like, oh, you got 70 miles, right? And what they're looking at on their phone is just the straight road.
Oh no.
And I'm like, oh, that's not too bad. I got 70 miles. They're looking,
you can't mess around
as
with
the
that
bird
when
flies, so to speak.
Yeah.
And the course is on all these side roads and everything. So like the way they're saying 70 miles, I probably have 90 still to go. And they kept doing this all day, and it's not their fault, but it messes with you a little bit.
Oh, that can be debilitating when you find it. I mean, even just to know you have a couple more miles than you thought when you're at that point, that breaking point.
Yeah, so I tell people, I'm like, so I started at 5:45 on a Friday morning. I ran all day Friday. I ran all Saturday night. I ran all Saturday. Saturday night, the sun goes down. Now, when you're putting your reflector vest and your blinky lights on for the second night in a row, emotionally, that's a tough place to be, right? People are like, did you have any tough moments? That was one of them, right? So the lights, sun's going down, I'm putting the vest on for the second night, and for some reason, I didn't think about it, but, the course goes down through Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and I figured when we get out to the Cape, it would get nice and flat. It doesn't get flat down there at all, and it gets really hilly, right? So those last parts are in the hills, and it's funny. Folks will say, "Hey, was there points where you were just like, I can't do it?" And I felt pretty good. I remember my brother goes, "Hey, you're almost there." Now, if someone says you're almost there,
that's a relative term.
Well, I don't know, right? So he's like, hey, you're almost there. And I'm thinking, God, maybe 2 or 3 miles. We're almost there. And then the silence, he goes, you got 9 miles to go. Now, 9 miles in the scope of 163 doesn't sound like a lot. But when you've been running for 150 something,
that's what cool things about raising money to find a cure for cancer. And, right at the moment where most difficult, I'm running and I'm listening to this text exchange between my wife and her, and we just say, read it out loud. And it helped finish it. It helped me get through those last few miles. And these were emails that had been sent to you in support in the wake of the press coverage, or no, these are just stories of people out there that had suffered. This is my wife, and we literally have a text exchange back and forth with each other. And my wife's reading the messages that Lisa's sending along. And, here she just up 3.5. She sends my wife a message saying 3 miles, question mark. And my wife responds back, it's very easy. And Lisa writes, God wants you to suffer to some degree. Puts it all in perspective so that Adam can understand the power behind his giving and doing. My wife, she's like, right, look, you try and set an example and give them the choice. And what we're finding is that given the choice, they're leaning more towards some of the stuff that we're eating. And it's nice to see. So, I look back over the last 18 months and say, like, what was it? What was the catalyst? Not so much for getting started, but for what transpired, it was switching to the plant-based diet. It always goes back to that for me. It was like, it was October, I started plant-based. Again, a week comes up, the energy goes through, and these series of events that just sort of came together, right? I didn't wake up and go, hey, I want to be an athlete. I want to go run an ultra. I want to run 160. I have no even concept, but it comes together, and then it then kind of gets to like where we are now, and you're like, well, what's next? So I want to hear about what's next, but one kind of thought I wanted to share on that comment that you just made is, somebody will say to me, well, maybe you'd be faster if you ate this or that and the other. And I'm like, well, first of all, I don't know that to be true, because all I know is what I do. But I can tell you one thing for sure, which is I never would have done Ultraman. I never would have done Epic 5 if I hadn't switched my diet to a plant-based diet, because that was the thing that changed everything. That was the thing that gave me the energy to even be interested in it and to even entertain the possibility of pursuing it to begin with. It's so true, man. That's what it is. It's like, you don't know what you're capable of, but for me, and this is, I'll just speak for myself, right? But switching to the plant-based to whole food diet just worked, right? It just clicked in all aspects of my life, and I pay a lot of tribute to that. So what is next? Other than getting, by the way, you're sitting here in your cycling kit. So you guys are on your way. I've got you on your way to Santa Barbara and just basically stopped in to go to the bathroom and fill your water bottle. Yeah, I hoodwinked you into this content. I gotta keep you guys back on the road here, but I haven't done a bike in a long time. I could have been running and a long time. We flew in last night and everybody was like, hey, you want to ride up to Santa Barbara? It's 100 miles. And I'm like, I remember reaching out to you. I was like, yeah, coming into LA. I'd like to say hello in person. I appreciate you reaching out to me. I did that run. So we're riding up. I was like, perfect. You're gonna have to kind of ride by my house anyway. For people that don't know, it's extraordinary how you get the ritual. Good for you. Yeah, so what's next? Yeah, we've got a couple things that we're working on and thinking about for events coming up this summer. Lisa, who helped just coach you from me last year, she's doing this. She's doing an epic event this summer. She's going to do a 4-time quad cross in the Badwater. Oh my god, yeah. Having just crewed that race, I can't even yeah, she raises money for, she's called Badwater for good water, money for excellent water around the world. She's just amazing woman. I appreciate everything that she did to help me. So I reached out to her and said, I want to get involved in that too. I wonder if they're, Death Valley National Park is not permitting any events in there, so I wonder if that's going to create I don't think it's not an event, it's just her and I doing it. So I think I'm going to go out and do part of that. Wow, very cool. But yeah. To be able to share with you over the next couple of weeks some of the amazing conversations that I've had with you guys, new people. It's awesome. It's been really cool. It's been fun to be here. I always love coming to New York City. The energy, the vitality, you just can't get it anywhere else. And it definitely is like a reboot for my system. It recharges me and gives me a sense of, renewal, excitement. And it's been cool. We got a big snowstorm here. I've been able to eat at a bunch of awesome restaurants, plant-based restaurants. Camel 79, always my favorite. Angelica Kitchen I'm going to tonight. Cafe Blossom. Juice Press, of course. It's amazing to see how many healthy restaurants are cropping up all over the place all over New York City. Essentially, there's a cold press juice place almost every corner here, which was not the case not too many years ago. So I love it. I'm here with Tyler, my podcast producer. He's been helping me out, and he actually got to play a music gig at Sidewalk Cafe on the Lower East Side on Monday night. They have a legendary open mic night. It has launched many musical careers. It's pretty cool around. And Tyler was able to step in and play a couple songs for a live audience in his first trip to New York, which was really super cool. So thanks to Mishka, former podcast guest, Mishka Shabali, for helping hook that up. It was awesome. And we've been having a great time. And one of the reasons we've been having such a good time is I got to sit down with Dr. Franklin, today's guest on the show. So who is Franklin? Well, if you're in New York, you've probably heard of him. He gets a lot of press out here. There was recently a State Park. So I just went up the road, this northern end here, that's what's